Yo, guys, what's going on? Today, I'm super excited to bring you guys our first ever podcast. This is something we want to do in a long line of series where we break down metas, deck analysis, and many more. Today, we're joined by Legit Vocals and Tanner from D3. We sit down to talk about the meta, the current state of the game, and many more things. So if you have time, play us in the background. Feel free to play us on your way to work. Maybe you're on the bus or the train, you need something to listen to. We're there for that. And remember to like, subscribe, comment down below. We would love to hear from you guys. And as always, thank you for the love and support. Without further ado, let's get right into it. What's up, guys? So I'm Explosive Chris from HQ. We're here joined by D3, Tanner, and Vocal. We also got Nora on the call. Say what's up, guys.
What's up, everybody?
What's going on?
How's it going?
So we both were comparing lists, and we thought that this would be a great opportunity to just speak on it. And we'll start by list. D3 color coded their list. It's not like they put anything in any specific order, and we'll talk about that in a sec. And so yeah, we'll just start with Kenshin. Like I think Kenshin is absolutely oppressive. I think it needed to be hit in the ban list. What are your guys' thoughts?
I guess I'll speak for the D3 half. I 100% agree. I definitely think it winning two of our, what was it, six regionals? Yes, two of our six regionals, and then also winning our nationals. So winning three major events and just not getting touched by the ban list, I definitely think was a oversight. It was a deck that is gatekeeping a couple other decks from even like being in this conversation today. And I think it definitely warranted some kind of attention. And the fact that it got none is baffling.
Yeah, I said the same thing honestly when we saw the ban list come out for us. I think it's something to pay attention to in the NA region when you're seeing, certain things perform at a certain rate in Japan versus NA, and just knowing what's keeping out half of the meta. I think a hit to Kenshin would have honestly given us so much more diversity when it came to even the decks you're seeing here in top 16, top 32, maybe some decks in 64, like Lancelot, for instance, would have been a great deck that would have came up in the meta when it comes to Kenshin not being around, or at least just being themed to a certain degree.
Right. I
Yeah,
also I also agree. You also have GGO. GGO could have come up as well.
Tanner, you were going to say something?
I've been pretty vocal about Kenshin needing some type of restriction since it literally came out. I was hoping that we'd get it before Florida last year when they made their initial statement about them keeping an eye on the meta game. And when they actually were going to come out with them, I was pretty hopeful that they'd do something to hit the deck. It just does too many things too well in a game that doesn't. There's a lot of variance in this game, and Kenshin's one that can kind of eliminate it and lean, while also still leaning into that variance because it's so aggressive early. It gets to lean into letting life bail you out. So it leads to a lot of games where Kenshin feels like it's killing you so fast early on, and then you also just lose to their life because they set themselves up to do that, and it just feels pretty unsatisfying some of the times to play against. So I definitely think it's a deck that should have gotten some type of hit, whether it be the consistency, whether it be the 2-drop Kaoru just to keep them from being so explosive so early, whatever it was. I was pretty disappointed with the ban list, to say the least.
You know what's funny? I was gonna ask what were your us at HQ, we had kind of like our ideas as to what cards it was gonna be. Was it gonna be one drop Kenshin? I mean, it's an active trigger, it searches, and it does the best thing in the deck. It bottom decks all your Karus, right? So it could be the best card, it could be the worst card. But we thought that. We also thought dropping the impact Kenshin to 2 was a thing. And then one of my own tastes as someone that's a Kenshin player, I just said pair ban the 2-drop and the 3, but then I realized like you can just move into Megami that way. So do we just ban the 2 costs? But there's several different angles, that you can use to hit the Kenshin deck. What were some of your guesses and thoughts before we got the ban list?
So, based off what JP's done with very strong decks in the past, they were just going to take what we think is the best raid and just put it to two. That's what they've done with Full Belt. That's what we did at Yuna at one point. That's what they've done at Sakuna at one point. So, literally, what I thought they were going to do is just look at the pushback Kenshin and be like, you were at two. And, like, even that, I feel helps us a little bit because that means if they have a pushback, they're not going to see a whole bunch of them. Now if they see one, you know there's only one more that could happen. So you can play a round of like double impact negate on the front line and stuff like that. And so my at least the first couple iterations, it was going to be either the pushback gets hit to 2 or it gets
Mhm.
banned altogether, or they did a pair ban of some way, shape, or they do a pair ban where they go, if you're playing, like you said, like if you're playing pushback Kenshin, you can't play one drop searcher Kenshin. Because that's what they did
Mm,
with Sukuna over here, where they said, hey, if
mhm,
you want to play the really strong card, you can't play the thing that helps the deck. So if you're going to play the pushback, you're not going to play the searcher to go find it. And if we
mhm.
really wanted to kill the deck, we were going to say 2 drop Quaru is gone.
Right.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Correct.
Because like even like when I'm playing the deck myself, I think I realize like turn 3 when you're coming in and you have like perfect curve with the 2 drop, it's just like that's why I'm hitting you so hard. Worse if I have a restand turn 3 and I'm going into just playing 2 drop, push up Kenshin or whatever the case is, and just getting that explosive play with a double strike at the end of that play too, which is it's just too much. If I had to get to 5 or at least get to the 4th card on my field to play the double energy Quaru, I feel like that would just feel so much better. It prevents people from wanting to push so early too and get that chump block or that chump attack.
Yeah, I definitely wish the pushback raid was a 5 cost raid, not a 4 cost raid.
Yeah, for a four
Um,
cost, it does too much.
yeah, especially raiding it out of life at 4 energy is just really, really feasible and really, really cheap for the deck to do, while keeping their front line really big. Yeah, I think the deck's just way too oppressive with the fact that if you do curve well, even without a restand, the game can just start at 7 life to 4 oftentimes, and that's even if you push something on your second turn going second against Kenshin. If they just hit a pushback raid, it can still be really detrimental. And then you have to crawl that back with them having life triggers to hit to try to swing it back in their favor, even after having such a strong explosive start. So I think some type of hit on that, whether like Vocals was saying, a limit of the raid. I don't think pair banning the 2 drop with the pushback would work too well. I guess it really just comes down to what their philosophy would be with the deck.
Mhm.
You've seen it in other Bandai games where they don't really care if the deck survives the bans, but UA's mission statement philosophy is a little bit different, where they want every deck to still kind of be playable, so you can play the IP you want and still play the game. So I don't think they would try to kill it. They try to find a finer line where they can bring it kind of back down to earth without burying it in the ground.
Right.
So I
Right.
think hitting something like limiting the raid or pair banning the search to try and hit the consistency with the pushback raid would have been the approach I would have gone after.
Nice. Yeah. I do agree. I do agree. So since we're talking about Kenshin, I think something good for the community, some people to hear while they're watching this video is our thoughts on it as competitive players. When we're sitting in front of Kenshin, what do you guys think is like the main ways to cripple the deck and kind of like fight against it if you're using any of the decks below it? What would be your game plan with Kenshin?
It honestly depends on what deck you guys are taking and what you need to know your deck and that matchup, and you need to know what are your outs to a strong turn 3, and then you also need to be playing your turn where if your Kenshin opponent does have 4 energy, that you don't get blown out by them hitting a pushback rate out of life. Because if you do a risky line and they do hit a pushback, like sure, if they hit a double attacker, that could also be the end of you because then they have an extra swing. But like most of the time, the worst thing that's gonna happen to you is a pushback out of life. So you make sure you're not getting completely blown out by a pushback. But you need to know your outs and you need to play towards them. And then you need to make sure you have your removal for the turns, whatever your deck's former removal will be.
Hmm.
Because in at least my point of view of it is, if you can forcefully remove Kenshin's board 1 to 2 turns in a row, they're out of gas. They
Right.
can't keep making that board. They run out of name targets to raid on, and then they just run out of like momentum.
Right. What do you think, Tanner?
Yeah, it definitely, to me, it feels like you want to hold your removals. You have to be smart about when you use your board removals against them for sure. The biggest thing is that deck is not a deck that goes very wide. They might go wide on the front line for a turn,
Mhm.
but their back line is going to be pretty empty because of it. They're raiding a lot. That's pretty much their only form of pressure. So
Right.
any removal on a raid is essentially nullifying 2 action points that they used and 2 cards from their hand. So if you can hold your removals for the impactful raids that are going to kill you in the late game, then you can try to fight back the board slowly over time. Well, I guess the very first thing you have to do against them is pray they don't have the super explosive third turn to just start the game at 4 life to 7.
Yeah.
But if you can kind of, once you start the game at 5 life to 7, you have 2 turns you really kind of have to stabilize to be able to swing back the game. And this is kind of my approach that I took when I was playing Yellow Ava in Vegas against the matchup was, okay, I've just accepted that this is going to happen. The game is going to start at 5 life to 7. If it doesn't, then I already feel like I've won the game. But once it's 5 life to 7, it's like, okay, I just need to make sure that I can have a lot of board pressure, fill my front line, and remove one of their raids for the next 2 to 3 turns straight. And if I do that, then I should have a pretty good chance to swing the board back because their board will get pretty empty. I'm nullifying so many cards out of their hand and action points they've spent throughout the course of the game that they're going to eventually just get into top deck mode where they have to find a raid target and a raid to push a damage every single turn. So just if you can try to stay at like 2 to 3 life, that helps a lot as well because usually every raid that they have represents 1 damage. So when you're starting the game at 5 to 7, they only have to see 5 more in combinations of raids and specials, and that's assuming you have removals for all of their like pushback raids to get the impact off board. But it really just comes down to stabilize, take 2 to 3 turns to just nullify their board, keep yours wide, and try to just run them out of resources.
Right.
Put them in top deck mode where they have to get bailed out by their life.
Special the unrated Kenshins. If you have another way of dealing, if you have a special in hand and you have a special out of life, special the unrated one, deal with the other one on your other turn. You know, like I think a big thing is choosing the right targets, maintaining the tempo in your favor as much as you can. Obviously, like you said, like getting blown out 3 life out of the first turn 3 or turn 4, it sucks. But I think there's a lot of things that could be done with like blocking when you can if they don't have the 4/2 and protecting your life, conserving as much as you can. That can be possibly done.
Kenshin is
But
just
yeah, I
a
think
spooky deck. It's very scary, honestly. There's just so much thought process that goes into sitting on the other side of it. Even in the mirror match, there's just so much. But obviously, we all know that. So yeah, it didn't get hit. I feel like we should move on to Ava because we could sit here and have a whole discussion on Kenshin, but it'll go on and on and on. But yeah, Red Ava. Red Ava is a deck that like I'm actually excited to see on top. I've been on this deck since like we knew we were getting it, and like its upbringing is very nice to see and see how it's come around from like not being considered anything to oh look it did that. So yeah, I feel like it just takes a really really good pilot behind it. Not to say that not anyone could pick up the deck, but you have to know what you're doing at what times with Red Ava. You can't just shotgun your 7 and lose. I don't know if you guys agree with that, disagree.
I think Red Ava, the reason why I at least have it up here is a strong deck. And with the right pilot, like we saw Joey, me and Tanner both got to play against him in Nats. He's a great guy. The deck, like, if it has the right sequence of the cards, it is hard for any deck to kind of compete against that. But at the end of the day, to me, it's still a pieces deck like other things, where if you don't see certain things, or if you play into a matchup that can remove your Ray and you don't get the win sideline, can be really like backbreaking. Which, another thing, guess what Red Kenshin Special does? It bottom decks your thing. Guess what you don't get? Win sideline effects. So when you're like, oh, here's my 4-drop double blocker that's going to get me value and draw me cards, and then I go bottom deck it got you nothing now. You're back to square one. And you can't get a win sideline when you're playing against Red Kitchen because they'll just push you back. But I think outside of that matchup, it is a deck that does have 8 removals, which if we look at back where we started with UA back last year, your
And
deck
Purple
needed
Bleach.
to have 8 to 12 removals. Like if your
Yeah.
deck didn't have 8 to 12 removals, your deck was not even in like consideration to be good.
100%.
And, like,
Shout
this
out
is
to
a deck-
Ichigo for teaching us that.
Yeah, shout out to Rory Mustang, all the old decks that had a removal. 8 removal was like the bare minimum you needed. And this is like a homage to that. It's like, hey, we have 8 removal, we're back. You look at like Purple Code Geass, that was force blocking, had specials, had minusing effect, like, and then Squad Zero, like, so it is a good deck in the fact that we do have more than 4 removals, and then you do have a boss monster that's kind of unaffected, so you can swing everything else, and then kind of close out the game with this big 7 drop. But I feel like if you do just shotgun against the wrong people, or if life just happens to be the right way, it's a deck that will punish you for going too early, and if you don't have the right cards to bring it back up, or if your draws just happen to be zeros and ones and not more cards you need, it can be devastating. And Color Shinji, you don't see that card, you have to
Yeah,
place Shinji's out of your hand. And
100%.
that's
Yeah, yeah.
nobody
you
wants to
need
play
that
that.
card.
I
Yeah,
remember playing him out of hand, like paying the 2 AP and playing him. I was like, that felt wrong. It's so bad.
Here's what I'll say to cap up on Red Ava. I just want to challenge all the players that are playing Red Ava or looking at playing a deck like this. Sit down with it. If you sit in front of a Kenshin player and you lose two, three, four times, yellow Ava, whatever the case is, just continue to sit down and learn the lines. Like we said, like Joey did great at Nats. And there's a lot of players, shout out to JV on our team that's doing incredible things with Red Ava. Like I just think it rewards you actually sitting down and learning the lines and learning when to do what and when to respond to your opponent. It's extremely rewarding, and I just think anyone that's thinking to pick up the deck, kind of like what Tyler was saying, like you're not going to win immediately, or unless you're Brainiac and you just got it like that. But sit down with it. It pays out.
Yeah, 100%. Like if you look at like Pro DM Joey in like the UA space, like I remember when Gutless and Ming kind of showed him the deck, and then he started picking up. He put the time in with the deck, and then he topped the one of the first online not regionals but online events with it, and he only lost one time, and I think it was to Spear, just because like that was a hard matchup. It's like if I'm gonna flood the board, if you don't have your mass removal, then I just have a whole board that you have to deal with. Like he
Mhm.
showed that like you can put time into a deck and you can get success out of it. So like I totally agree with Noir. Like if it's a deck that you think it's something you like, and it's just put time into it, and you'll see what you need to see when you have your certain matchups, and then you'll learn what is your bad matchups.
Right. All
Completely
right.
agree.
So
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 speaking on having more removals, we see both, Jinwoo here, which is the mill side,
mhm,
and
mhm.
Yellow Girls. So let's talk about Jinwoo first, because I mean, this is new, right? This is something that it has no leg in a major tournament setting yet. Where do you think this stands? Like I haven't tested the deck enough yet. I know Noir has more testing with it. So give us your thoughts on it.
Um, I think it's interesting, right? Because if you look at both of our lists, like this is where you see the first difference between our lists. Like I know D3's is color coded, but I do want to kind of get your input to the guys at D3. Like where do you think these two decks do lie within each other? What do the matchups look like between Yellow Girls and Sung Jin Woo? And what do you think it would be like going into a large tournament setting with this deck if they are playing against each other?
I'll start and I'll let Tanner pick it up because Tanner plays more Yellow Girls while I've played more Mill. Um, I think when we're looking at everything in this list, Mill doesn't have a bad matchup, and that's crazy to say, right? Like I
Mhm.
know my deck is going to do the thing, and it's going to do its thing against each of these decks in this format. There's not a deck in this list that I can't just play my deck. And like if you bottom deck my things with Kenshin, sure, I'm fine. You blow up my thing, sure, you're helping my game plan. We're playing the girls matchup. I have sure you can float into extra bodies, but I'm playing extra bodies. Uh, you're playing Red Chihiro, you're blowing up my bodies. I've played a lot of the Red Chihiro matchup,
Mhm.
and they've like, well, I've flooded the board and blew up your bodies. And I said, okay, well, I've removed half your board. Now show me you have the gas again. I played into Red
Right.
Kenshin. They said, I have a board. I go, I've killed your board. Show me you have the gas again. And when you just, we're back to this, just like I said with the Red Ray. This is a minimum 8 removal deck and can be even more.
It
And
could be.
in some situations, this deck can do things that I think other decks struggle with. And I literally think this deck almost has everything it needs. I wouldn't say a perfect deck, but it is a very strong deck in my eyes. And I think not having any inherently terribly bad matchups is just a good thing for a deck to have in this.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, I think it counters Red Kenshin very well. I think it has a pretty fair matchup into Spear, although that's going to be a different story now. And just a lot of decks just can't deal with the consistent removal, which I think this deck has a lot of. But it kind of speaks again, like, I've seen some lists come out and I've heard, speculation and ideas, and a lot of people haven't had really good success. But like I said, you see this list up. I mean, you see this list from both E3 and ourselves, and you see like we put this deck up here and think that it's amazing. So I think again, kind of the idea with Red Ray, I challenge everyone to sit down with it, give it a shot, because it has everything like Tyler was saying. A deck could need to kind of like compete in this meta, especially when you look at the matchups that it has against the other decks in top eight.
Yeah, and like I said, I want to hand it over to Tanner because Tanner did play Yellow Girls more than I did, and like how he thinks it is versus this deck, I think kind of them do the same thing because I think Tanner will probably say it too. That like Yellow Girls also kind of has everything for what it needs and doesn't really have a bad matchup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think these decks fit a pretty similar spot in the meta. I think neither of them do anything like particularly crazy. I don't think they like have any super like the old spear turns of old, right? Or like Lancelot turns that we would see sometimes way back when. But I don't think they do anything crazy, not like Red Ava does or Kenshin turns. But what it does do is that they're both pretty consistent decks. You draw a lot of cards, you're going to see your pieces, especially the new Sung Jinwoo mill deck. You just draw one, trashing one so much that you really get to filter your hand quite a bit. Sometimes it can be a little bit tough to get the ball rolling, but once you do, like, I think specifically the Sung Jinwoo mill deck is very, very scary if they get to keep a board for a turn. So if they present a board to you and then you don't answer it or remove anything off of it, and they have the life to spare that they can kind of just absorb some swings without giving you bodies by blocking, I think then that the deck can present an insanely scary board that's just kind of an insurmountable wall at that point. And I think it does it very, very consistently. So I think that's the biggest thing it has going for it, and that's a big reason why a lot of the matchups that you're going to see on the tier list, it has at least like a 50-50 into. I think it's a deck that can reasonably beat and fight every single deck just because its game plan is kind of the same every game, and it does it pulls it off in pretty much every game as well.
Yeah.
It's just kind of the difference between does it take one more turn or one less turn to kind of get to it. But once you do, you're swinging really tall. You got the impact. You have force block. It's not hard removal, but you are still fighting the board. So especially against some of the decks that don't go quite as wide, that can be really detrimental, especially with like a well-timed special as well, setting up the turn to make them force block with a body that they might not have wanted to block with. So I think that's the biggest thing going for the Mill Sung Jinwoo deck. The Yellow Girls deck, in a similar vein, it also goes very, very wide and doesn't do anything particularly crazy with any of its things. Obviously, the Asuka SR is pretty strong, but there's not any like super big things besides the Mari that staying on board. It's like, yeah, it does honest things. It doesn't do anything crazy. It just gets the job done. It goes really wide. It's gonna outvalue you, and it's gonna do it pretty consistently between all the searching and the drawing. If anything, I feel like to me, I might put the Yellow Girls deck in a slightly higher. If you made me tier this,
Right.
this specific one, and for me, that's actually because of the restrictions to Spear. I think the Mill deck had, notably, one of the reasons I was testing it a lot and had it so highly rated was because it got to swing at 5,000 or more. So Spear couldn't free block, and then your Chas swing underneath their 4,000 or more bodies. So they're in this tough situation where if you can go force block with a Cha, and they say they only have 4,000s and like the nullify impact Shinji, it's do you block with the nullify impact Shinji so you don't take the impact, but then the Cha gets to swing under for free. They can really kind of sneak in a lot of damage against Spear. But since Spear is going to be a little bit weaker now because of the restrictions, I think I would probably put the yellow girls deck slightly higher in that sense.
Right.
Notably because I think yellow girls has a pretty decent matchup into red. I wouldn't say it's good by any means, but I feel pretty comfortable with that matchup most of the time. You can ask a lot of questions out of them just because you're going so wide and they normally don't. Whereas I think the mill deck has a little bit of a harder time sometimes against the red Ava deck. I think I'd put yellow slightly above, but I think they're very, very similar, both in power level and kind of the spot they fit into the meta, where both of the decks take pretty even to slightly favored matchups into almost the entire room, which makes them very attractive to play to regional.
100%. And to piggyback off what Tanner said real quick, and the reason why in the same vein that Tanner did, the reason why I would put Mill above Yellow Girls is, yes, Yellow Girls is doing the same thing, kind of, we have multi swings, but the thing, like Tanner said, I'm swinging bigger than you. And then at the end of the day, when we're looking at the matchup, even if you look at Mill versus Yellow Girls, I have Chaws that are just going to go, hey, I'm going to go under you. So you have to have your little guys. And all
Right.
your little guys besides your impact negator, the little one, don't have impact negate. So I'm gonna go bigger than you. So even if you have an active trigger, where against yellow girls you have 4Ks and you have active triggers, guess what? You get to block out there. Where against like Mill, you're not blocking out against us. We're
You're
always
not.
bigger than you, and if you hit an active trigger, I still get to go under you with the Chaw, which is even crazier because when you look at most in-game boards from decks right now, it's all 4Ks and up. So when your deck
Hmm.
is all 4Ks and up, and I go, well, hey, I have
Swing
this card you
6.
can't block. Good luck.
Yep.
But
I definitely
like
think
we
the
all
cause is
said,
influenced deck, yeah.
yeah, like there's so like there's a lot of cards in the mill deck. Like this isn't just about the mill deck, but there's a lot of cards in the mill deck where, like I said, it has the tools for everything, and there's some cards that definitely should have been written differently than they are.
So this is a difference that I see in our list, right? Like we chose to put Spear in top 8, regardless of the nerfs, because we still feel that Spear is gonna be up even with the Karu side. You can play the Mari side, which is what you did, vocal. So and like you just harder incorporated now. So why did you guys choose to put Spear further down? Like, what was the thought process there? Because like for us,
It
we saw it as
yeah,
a
go
as
ahead.
a deck that's still really powerful. Yeah, I think what Tanner was saying is right. Yellow girls would be very good into it now. You got Milwoo, also another really good deck into it, but I think Spear's still gonna be that explosive deck that everybody saw. No pun intended, guys. Um,
I think where it's at right now is people need to test more, and I think because this
Yeah.
came out literally, it's coming out this weekend is when we're playing. You have a week to test this deck. Yes, I have teammates like Karner from D3 is hard testing it. We have 2 different builds that we think you can take this deck, and like they're working, sure, but it's not old Spear. I'm not looking at 3 Asukas and 1 Spear, and you drew 4 extra cards. I'm not looking at you searching 3 specials every time I kill a Wonder and that are just going to blow up my board and also filter you to another Spear. Like now you have to play other specials that aren't searchable. Now you have to
Mhm.
play different packages and you have to play other bodies. Like if most people, like I've seen, is some people, this is not like what we've done. Like we tested it, but like we've came to conclusions and stuff. Like the Oscars went away, put in 3 6-drop Maris. Okay, well you put in no triggers in your deck. Like sure you can spam the board, but you're not drawing cards. And then the Mari's making you discard a card. And then if you look at you're just playing the Ava 13, why not just play the whole Ava 13 package? Why are you trying to
Right.
play it like in Spirit? Sure, you have a 4-drop raid now that you can like defensively play into Kenshin, which was like the whole idea of me playing the 5-drop Mari raid. It gives you more raids to play. But if you're not all in on the 13 package and you're not having all the draw Spear had, it's harder to get that 13 online to do what the 13 wants to do. And that's why I think unless someone's put a lot of time into it and they get like good matchups into non like multi swing decks or multi removal decks, yes, I can see Spear doing good. But it's too much of an unknown variable for me, for at least for me in my eyes, to put it above top 32 because I can't guarantee it'll beat the decks that are above it in top 16 and top 8.
Right.
that's fair. Talking about top 16, let's go into top 16. I don't want to go into every specific deck in top 16. I want to talk about top 16 overall because, like, I mean, when we're talking top 16, right? Like, if you look at our lists are very similar. You guys just color coded yours, and we didn't color code ours.
And I think the difference is progressive. We have in 16 versus 32,
Correct.
and
So,
GGO as well.
so we just want to talk about 16 as a whole, and just kind of like look at it as a whole. Why are we placing these decks in 16? I always heard that Chishiro could beat Kenshin. I don't have experience with the deck. I did dabble in it, and like Nora did dabble in it, but like more our other teammates played this deck.
Yeah, I'll run through all of top 16 and like why I think each deck belongs where it is.
Absolutely.
Red Chihiro, the reason why I think it is, it's just red Kenshin, but actually kills bodies, which in some matchups that's a good thing. Some matchups that's a bad thing. Also, being able to free play a body Togo gives you some of the insane pressure turn 3. I played a lot against this deck from Luffy from Haven. It's a deck he really likes playing, but Spear was crippling it because you have a 5k body. That means the Chihiro can't kill it. So if you're a deck that can get over 4k, Chihiro kind of struggles because they have to find a special to remove it. Then you look at Willie, now that Spear's gone, every bodies are like 4Ks or smaller, and we have some newer decks that are playing littler bodies. Willie is arguably still one of the one decks that doesn't matter what your board looks like. I'm going to minus 2 things, and with like 2 raids, I can swing 6 times. I think the other day when I was hard testing it with the team, I had 8 swings on board, and I'm looking at my opponent going, "You're at 3 life with 3 bodies, and I have 8 swings. Good luck." And it's just just a deck that can swing that much is just we can't look past it. And we did have people playing it at Nats. It was a deck I wanted to play at Nats, but I just decided to play Spirit because 1-drop Mari wasn't out. Saito, if Kenshin's strong, guess what's even stronger? Saito runs that matchup all day.
Right.
He's not here.
That was my biggest
Kenshin's
fear.
good, Saito's here. We can't talk about Kenshin without talking about Saito. But if you're Saito and you play one of these mass removal decks and you're like losing your board every turn, you're like, oh, ouch. Green Jeju Island, kind of the same thing. I think it's crazy. It's like one of the weirdest decks that I've seen have like the most consistent turn 3 ever. Every turn 3, it's doing something. That deck can do something every turn. No matter what game it is, turn 3, you're doing something. And I think it also has one of the craziest turn 3s. Like I've seen Kenshin like sure go, hey, I'm gonna swing a whole bunch turn 3, but like they're pushbacks. I've seen literally in testing one time, actually multiple times, my teammate put my other teammate down to 2 or 3 life on turn 3. And it's like, okay, now you have to answer my whole board and make a board, or you just die to pokes. Green Toshi. Green Toshi is, I hate to say this is a wallet deck, because if you don't have binder cards, like you're not playing this deck to its full power. But still, this is a deck where you can lock people out of the game, and you can also close out the game. You play against yellow girls, they're sitting on raids. You're like, man, it'd be a real shame if they can never stand active. Oh, you're playing red Shinji. Oh, it'd be a shame if I just locked your 10-drop out of it. Oh, you have the 4-drop raid. It'd be a shame if I never let it stood up. Oh, Mill. It'd be a shame if I just stunned your Chaw. You don't have a way to kill it off your own board. Kenshin, it'd be a shame if I just stunned your Impactor and your backline. So that means you can't tap your card to draw a card.
So she's too broken.
Yeah,
So Toshi's still the king of, oh, you need those cards?
Toshi has always been that stun card that it's like so scary.
Yeah. Green
I mean, I
GGO.
think like top three raids that's been in the game, like
Of all time.
Yuji, Toshi, Impact Kenshin.
Yuji will never be a
So
top 3. I'll never
spooky.
let that man. If Yuji said 5K, top 3.
Yeah.
Never
Top 3 for sure.
Not happening.
Never letting that guy have top 3. Toshi always. There's people still asking Toshi questions in the judge Discord about how the hell this card works. This card is a problem and will always be a problem, and you can never forget about it. I just don't think people play it because they don't have binder cards. Green GGO, it's a good board spam deck with a new 6-drop, and then it has good removal, has 8 removal, being the snipers, and then you can also go wide and give every card on your board impact and be like, you don't want to block because you're just going to take the damage anyways.
So talking about GGO, since you're there, right? Like you have yours in 16, we have ours in 32. What gave you the place to put it? Like what made you want to put it in top 16? And Tanner, if you have any thoughts, feel free to jump in. But yeah, what made you guys want to put yours in 16? The deck is strong, but we would like
it's a baby spear.
That it's a baby spear.
Your raid draws you a card and spits out a body.
Yeah, all of the cards in the deck just feel really streamlined. They feel like they all have a lot of value now with Volume 2. With Volume 1, you had like removal, but you still kind of had a hard time closing out the game. Like when SAO Volume 1 came out, I was calling Xenon Kurapika 0.8. But now with Volume 2 out, I call it like Kurapika 1.5, 2.0. And I still hold true to that because without having the impact, it was like you could fight someone's board and try to make them run out of resources. But decks are just too good now. They draw too many cards. That doesn't really work without the impact. But with Volume 2, you can still be progressing the game and getting yourself closer to winning while also having that removal on their board. You get to swing at 5,000, or you can swing around things with Snipe. Snipe is just really broken. Pretty much every deck we've ever seen that has Snipe has found a place at regionals, performing well. So I think that especially anything that has Snipe Impact, which the new 6-drop gives you, I think that card is really, really strong. You still have your 5k bodies that are damage to Impact 1. I mean, we know that that stat line is still just really strong. And the deck is really consistent. You draw a lot of cards. You get to filter the top of your deck. So while I think it's maybe a little bit lagging behind in the power level of some of the other decks, it still does what it wants to do pretty consistently, and it can still progress the game state while answering your board and making you rebuild a board over and over. And Xenon is another deck that if you don't answer their board on that first turn that they go double raid, you will just start to get run over as they follow up on the next turn with something even stronger that you really can't come back from. So that's why I think Xenon still has a place that high. And you can expect to see it getting some top 16s just because it has.
And it has a card. If you've never read Photon Sword, it gives impact +1. And I would like to show you guys the terror of you being at 4 life, thinking you're safe, and your opponent has the new 6-drop on board, which, like Tanner says, gets impact. They raid the snipe. They play a final. They go activate the 6-drop, give the sniper impact, play 3 Photon Swords. Now has impact 4 snipe. And if you've never been killed by that.
Jeez, I've never been killed by that.
If you've never taken 4 life in a turn, just know you're never safe.
Like Tama who?
I've never been killed by that.
That reminds me of the checkmate force block Gurren days.
It's kind of the same thing. It's kind of from like somebody who kind of did the same thing a lot, but
so
you can never rule it out.
I think the deck can win a lot of games. I think it's going to have a hard time going X1 a lot of the times just because of the power level. Like getting there every single game against these decks, like eventually one of them is going to high roll you, even though like overall you're going to be more consistent than them. So I have a hard time seeing Xenon get much higher than top 16, but I think you'd see them trickle their way into top 16 regularly over the course of a bunch of regionals in the same format.
Yeah,
nice.
So really quickly in top 32 and lower, from each of us, I wanted to just pick out a quick deck that we think pilot dependent, not from the pilot group, but between 32 and 64. What deck do you think has the strongest chance to breach into this top 8, depending on pilot, out of the 32 and 64 decks?
I would have to say, if I had to pick one, and this is a shout out to old homie Div. I think Toto's in a spot where it can breach in.
Ooh,
now that Spear's not here that much, like if Spear doesn't show a big process where it's not flooding the board as much, there's some of these decks that like, sure, we're trying to get to 4 or 5, and we want to just sit on one doubler and not have to force ourselves to set up a second one. And if you rip our doubler at a good spot, and you're also a special that bottom decks that also gets around win sideline things. And against like all of our decks in top 4, you bottom deck key cards in each of those decks. Ouch.
Yep. Problematic.
Big ouch.
What do you think, Tanner?
I'm having a hard time choosing. I think Toto is decent again. I don't think it can quite get there in the same way that Vocals does. Just with the threats of other things. Just what the raid does isn't quite as good enough at the end of the day anymore. A Toto player who knows what they're doing against someone who isn't as familiar with the deck, you definitely can get a lot of wins. But I think towards the end of the tournament, you could have a hard time pushing up into that top 16, top 8 level with it. But I definitely think the deck is still good. The deck that I would want to say that I have my eye on the most to see someone kind of bring it back out now with the change in the meta with the restrictions is probably Mustang. I think Mustang
Me and
is
you are so in
always been an
agreement.
interesting deck. You draw a lot of cards, which is good, and I think Mustang is again, it's a deck that has 8 removals, but it's more than that if your Mustangs get to live. You have pretty good raids out of life, which is another thing that we don't talk about often, but is something that can be really, really impactful in Union Arena, is having raids impact the game, not just actives or specials. I think Mustang has pretty good raids out of life that are going to get a lot of value on the following turn. And if you don't answer a Mustang board, it also is just going to keep pumping away and just removing things off your board. I think the second effect on the when attacking, getting to removal something rather than sideline it, is also very interesting. And I think against Red Ava, you could see that be prevalent now. If Red Ava starts to see an uptick, Mustang can take use of that, getting rid of the Ray raids and removing them instead of sidelining them to try to deny that board width. Could be something that would be really, really interesting. I think Mustang potentially could find, if they can stabilize against something like Kenshin, kind of like Noir was saying at the top of the episode, getting rid of the little Kenshin raids is something that can really, really cripple Red Kenshin. So if they have them on the front line, Mustang be able to bully them turn after turn could be something that stops Kenshin from being able to push over the line.
Early aggression.
If as long as they can live it, but especially with Spear, kind of, I'm expecting at least that Spear will see a smaller representation in the meta. Even if it's still really strong, I think the representation will be a lot lower, and I think that opens up a lot of space in the meta for these decks that are really good at dealing with 4K or less bodies, like Mustang specifically. So I could see a world where someone who's really well versed in Mustang and is really well tested into the top of the meta could go on a pretty fun deep run to watch at a regional coming up.
For me, I think my choice would probably be Lancelot. It's a deck that I actually didn't believe in. Don't. It's a deck that I didn't believe in early on in the game when it first came out. I think at that time I was on Mahito, so I didn't think Lance was a real thing. Just because I won in maybe like turn 4, turn 5, I was already done with that game. But now looking at it, Lance is just such a powerful deck. I think being able to just damage 2 after damage 2, you got more support in the form of Nonali. Draw 1, drop 1. You're seeing more cards. You got the Aria, I think her name is. Also draw 1, drop 1. It's just it has everything it needs. I think it's the existence of Kenshin kind of keeps it where it is. But I do think a player that's, brave enough to bring it to a regional and try it out would do amazing with it if they just happen to skate past the Kenshins, the progressives, the willies, and things that multi-attack. I've seen what happened to me before, where I was in Canada and there was someone else coming next to me exactly every single round, and I'm like, damn, Lancelot is killing it. So I do definitely think someone can kind of be that dark horse, and I challenge you guys to pick it up and give it a shot because I think Lance probably still has it. What about you?
I would definitely love to see that. As you know, I've always been a big fan of decks like Lancelot. I would love to see decks like Lancelot, these comeback decks, have a space back in the meta.
Yeah.
And maybe now's the time with Spear kind of getting hurt a little bit, not being able to swing as quickly or as consistently. Because I've always played the comeback mechanic decks. Life is a resource. Be big and tall. Swing very big late game. So I would definitely love to see someone do well with Lancelot.
Sounds good.
What's your thoughts, Chris? Which one do you, which
for
one do
me,
you
like
have?
I said, it would be Roy. I've always been like, I remember a time when me and Nora were talking about Roy, and he was like, "Nah, Roy." He's like, "I can't believe this." Like, he's laughing because he knows. He's like, "Nah, Roy, I can't believe it." But like, it has wins under its belt. Like, I was like, we're missing something. We're not seeing it. We're not seeing it. But I've always been like a fan of Roy. I have the deck still sitting there. I think it's an amazing deck. Just the form of removal by like swinging and being able to pitch cards to get you off the field is insane. And then like if you don't answer it and I bring out a second one, like you're now just in a worse state. Roy is just too good. There's a reason why it's got wins under its belt. It's very, very good. It's good into red. It's probably good into other things. The only thing holding it out is things like Yellow Girls, Mill, and probably some of the top 16 decks, honestly. So I guess now we can move on to top 32 here. We've already briefly spoken about top 32. The more interesting focus points here would be like Shadow Army, and we have the Cha-Cha slide, as they call it, on 32, but you guys have it on 16. So maybe you guys have experienced something else with the deck?
Like I said before, it's probably one of the most consistent turn 3 decks ever. You're playing a raid on 3, or you're playing a 4K on 3. You're doing something on 3 and being like, hey, you actually have to deal with what the hell I just did on 3. And that there's not a lot of decks that can always go every turn 3. I'm gonna put something out that my opponent needs to deal with, and it can be a Choi raid, it can be a Cha raid, it can be the 4/2 Wolf dude that's searching 2 cards when swinging. It can be just two. It could be a color trigger Cha that's going to come in active and swing 4K at you. Like it's there. It's going to do something on turn 3, and you have to respect that card. And if you don't respect the card, it's going to chip more and more out of you every turn. And that's why we have it at 16, because we do have players that are testing it, and we've been testing it a lot. There's even a deck I looked at myself as a deck I would play, because you're going to have a very strong. The worst is you're going to still have a okay turn 3, but then if your opponent doesn't respect that okay turn 3, you have a strong turn 4. They don't respect it still, or they just are like, oh, you're not doing anything. You can probably win on turn 5. Like you can win on turn 5, win on turn 4, depending what your hand has. The only reason why I can see it being 32 where you guys have it is if your opponent's life is good, this deck does nothing.
I agree.
If you swing into special pushback raid, something like that, this whole deck fumbles. But if they have not, I'm not trying to take into account what the worst can be. I'm just thinking what is the average, and the average is every turn 3 I'm doing something. So no matter what game I'm doing something turn 3.
I think for us, when I looked at the top 32 is the round where a lot of these players are going to be placing in top 32, and around where that is and what decks will still be in circulation, and what decks would have been knocked out. And I think some of the decks in top 16 just have a really strong edge into a lot of these decks in 32 and lower. And I think around that round where the players will be placing between 32 and 16, they'll get that resistance from either a wacky deck that made it far enough, or something extremely strong like a Kenshin or like a Red Ava or Yellow Ava or something like that in that time frame.
Yeah, I could see that. But yeah, it's just I can see this being a deck that only takes 1 loss, and you're one of those X1s that is top 16, bubbled out of top 16, depending on how many rounds in tournament is, or you took 2 losses and then that's where you'd be in 32. But I think if you're like me and Tanner said, we like to numbers, looked at consistency. Like I said, this is a deck where you're doing something on turn 3. And you just can't ignore the fact that it's going to have to do something, where some of these decks in 32 and 64 could have a bad turn 3.
Right.
So now that we're here, right? I would love to go over tops, 64 and pilot dependent decks. But we've already spoken on it. We've already spoken on Toto and Lance and where we think those are, and I think those all fall into the same thing. The only thing I would say, touching up on it, is that I think that Kikaru or Mina or something like that does fall into being pilot dependent. Even Sukuna. Well, I mean, we have it in top 64. You guys have it in top 64. But it does fall into being pilot dependent still. For one of these top 64 decks to come up, something on the top 8 list would have to go. right? Because it's obviously what's keeping it down, and it's probably Kenshin. Probably Kenshin, to be fair. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I 100% agree. If Kitchen disappears, things in this pilot in top 64 move
go
up.
up.
And
The whole list
Yeah.
moves.
yeah,
The whole list
the whole
changes.
list changes, and then even new decks enter top 64 in pilots. But like I do when I like to preference my videos, everything you see in this picture, at least on our side, I can see winning it. If it's that person's day, like it was for me at like LCQ and like stuff like that, where like I was just having good matchups the whole day. My opponents were playing into my hand, even though they didn't know it. Like they were playing into the game I wanted to play. Like all it takes is you to have one of those days, and you could literally be on the blue Sakuna, and every game turn two you have all four fingers in trash. Like your opponent's gonna get rocked that game like that. They're just done.
With a shrine,
Uh,
especially.
yeah, like you're just like Byakuya, you play against enough like shadow soldier players or anybody that's like a Kenshin that's trying to board swarm, and you go, I'm gonna wipe your board 2 turns in a row and hit you for 3 or 4 damage every turn. Like
Yeah,
it's just your day.
you got it.
So while we kind of come to the conclusion here, what has your guys' season one's been like? Like your first season of, well, obviously the new season of UA. How's that looking for you and like Tanner so far?
I think season one of UA, I started off like I was excited for it as someone who was like ready from like JP days. I was so ready for it, and I wanted to like do good. That the first regional that happened at Gen Con, I brought Green Saitama. I was the only person like looking like really looking at this deck, I think. And I was like, bro, like into a Mustang like in all this meta, like because this is just when Full Metal came out. I was like, bro, I don't want to play Mustang, and I'm gonna play a body that you just can't kill. And then my 5K, that deck hates trying to remove 5K, so King I can't remove. Like, and then Silver Fang is a 45, even harder for them to remove. And then if I play the other Silver Fang that makes them discard a card every time they want to like target my thing, even worse. So I was like, bro, I think the move was this, and like me and Tanner both played that day, and I bubbled out of top 16 for my invite. It sucked, but I was okay with that. Then Dallas, I was gonna play Lancelot because we just got the support. Decided to play Saitama again because I talked myself into all of Lancelot's good matchups were Saitamas, but I just needed some pressure in some of the games I lost, and then I ended up losing to my friend who literally took my exact same 50 Saitama list the week and a half before. We ended up playing each other. He ended up beating me. He got his invite, so like we proved the list worked. And from that point, I was like, I'm not playing this deck anymore. This deck is done because Red Kenshin is now out, and I'm not playing against that deck. I tried Red Kenshin. I was supposed to go to Florida to play with everybody, but I got asked to come be one of the assistant head judges for the first Riftbound major event, so I skipped that one. So I was really itching because I told myself I wanted to be in nationals. I knew I was a player that, at least in my eyes, I knew I had what it took to get there. And I've played with all the greats. I've played with like all the other players that have topped events, and I was like, I know I have what it takes to get there, but I wanted to like, I wanted the number to show me that I had it. I wanted to play in Nats. So went to LCQ and I got in. I was like, okay, guys, I'm doing it. And I wasn't gonna play Spirit first. I was gonna play other stuff. But then sitting down with the team, and it was either Spirit, Yellow Girls, and Tanner was gonna play Yellow Girls, and I didn't put that much time into it. And Yellow Girls, I wasn't gonna draw half my deck, so I decided to play Spear. We know how LCQ went. We ended up having the tech that a lot of people didn't, nobody was thinking about. Got me my win in LCQ.
Mhm.
Got to play in the Nationals. Played against my teammate Ming, where we're both playing Spear, and we both play test against each other, and we both have the literally almost the same identical hand. And I roll Snake Eyes, and he rolled 11. And literally because he
Oh
got to go first, he
no.
won the game. And I was like, I hate this world. And then later on, I ended up playing Joey, and Joey had like some of the craziest like red Ava turns I've seen ever. Seen like all of his 6 drops and his specials. He was a great guy, really nice. It sucked that I had to lose to him. I wanted to play him at day 2, but then the down pair lost at the end of round 6, so I didn't get another round to like kind of guarantee I got into day 2. And I bubbled out and got 19th at nationals overall. And it just made me more hungry to push even harder for this season since it's split into 2 waves. So we're gonna have
Yeah.
different cards. So I need to make sure I get. My goal is I want to be the first 2-time regional winner. So that's my big goal, and we'll see if I can hold up to the goal I've set for myself. Because if you don't shoot big, if you
Right.
aim small, you're gonna hit small. If I aim big, at least I'm gonna get it somewhere in this top 64. So, and that's my experience from it.
Nice. How about you, Tim?
Yeah, I've been enjoying my time in Union Arena a lot. Kind of like Tyler, I haven't been playing quite as long as Vocals has, but I've been playing since before the Super pre-releases. I played at a Gen Con demo. That's actually where I went Vocals. I went to my first One Piece regional at Gen Con, and bubbled out of 64 there, I think. But during day 2, I got some demo decks, was playing. Vocals walks over and is like, "Is that Union Arena?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing." And then he taught me how to play the game. But so I've been playing the game for a long time, way back since season 0, season 1. But I've been enjoying it a lot. I think the meta's changed a lot, which I think has been really cool from those first days. I love that. I mean, just looking at these tier lists, we have 30 decks on here, and I think if you brought any of these decks, I wouldn't look at you and think you're wasting your time. And I think that's super awesome. I love the way that the meta is kind of developed in that way, that it's like you can kind of play the deck that you really want to. And because of that, I've tried to play something different as well. I've really enjoyed exploring all the new sets. Unlike Vocals, I did not quite get there at LCQ to have my big finish yet. You could say that I do. I have the top 4 at the first Orlando. I have the top 8 at LCQ, top 32 at Nats. I've been very consistent at getting some type of finish between like the season 0 online, the season 1 events, but I'm still kind of waiting for my big one. So that's kind of what I have my eyes on for season 2. But I believe in my process. I think I've been doing very well. I feel very confident in how I can prepare for tournaments and how I can understand the deck that I'm going to go into it, that I can play as well as I can. And it's just going to come down to matching up the preparation with the opportunity, because that's all that luck is at the end of the day. And as long as I keep going and prepare to every tournament, one of these tournaments I won't have the game where I brick, or the game where I kind of get unlucky out of life. I still have misplays that I make. I think it's impossible to be perfect at the game.
Yeah.
So I can obviously keep preparing and keep trying to play better as best as I can. But one of these days, I'm sure that when the preparation meets the opportunity, I'll be able to put my name in the
100%.
history books.
Our
Right?
goal is everyone from D3 will go to Nats this year. We had 5 people
Yeah.
last time, and we're getting even more in this time.
Yeah, but that's kind of my eyes on season 2. But I've loved meeting everyone. It's been a blast traveling to all these tournaments. I've gotten to play amazing games against so many cool people. I've played 3 different card games at a competitive level now, and the Union Arena community is by far the best and most heartwarming one I've ever met. Pretty much every opponent I've ever played has been super pleasant. Win, lose, doesn't matter if we're at table 1 or table 300, right? We're still having a good time. As long as because it feels like everyone has a pretty good attitude about it. We know that the game has a lot of variance in it, so as long as you kind of roll with it, and it seems like everyone has. So I've been loving my first year and a half or so playing it. But I'm really excited to try to keep pushing in this season 2 as well.
Nice. And I think for me, I had kind of like a similar story to yourself. As you know, we've been playing the game since the game came out. Chris and I come from Yu-Gi-Oh, so we're in the land of the toxic.
Literally, let me tell you guys how it went. I sat there and I told Nora, "Yo, this card game's coming out based on like anime," and he's like, "Nah, I'm not getting into another card game. I'm not doing it." And I told him, "Just try, trust me." And like, I showed him the cards, and he was like, "All right, let's do this." And
And that was pretty much it. I mean, we saw like Bleach is one of my favorite animes, JJK2, and several others. So we got into the anime. We started out early. We met a lot of people in the first Orlando regionals. Had a great time there. It was really nice to just see like such a large success for a brand new game. And it was fun. It was like you said, Tanner, like everyone in the community is amazing. I mean, it's what brings D3 and HQ and all these groups and everyone that wants to, enjoy time with their friends, go to events, compete, meet new people. I think it's a great outlet for us as adults to have like, something fun to do with friends aside from just the seriousness with the cards and actually competing. But I think at the end of the day, for me, for everyone that knows me and has met me, I'm a competitor, always heart and first. That's where we're at. That's where I'm at with the game, and always striving to be better. That's why we challenge everyone in our team in HQ to get the reps in, learn the meta, learn the counter decks. Play everyone's deck. See what's coming out in the future. We have Sakamoto Days coming out soon. We have Tokyo Ghoul right around the corner. Inuyasha is supposed to be a big set. Like, are you reading up on the cards? Are you learning on it? Things of that nature. Because I think those are the things that brings everyone in this call to that next step to kind of go to these events and compete is what's your preparation? I think everyone said that. How much are you preparing? How much are you learning the decks, the crutch spots? Your weak points, these little things that can help you get forward in the game. But back to like the season for me, we missed pretty much everything in the beginning. So I missed Gen Con, we missed Dallas, and I was like, I really got to try to get into an event. So what are we gonna do? Because when we were in Dallas, we went for DBS to play Fusion World. So we didn't get a chance to play UA, and then I was like, I really need to play some UA. So we bought the first flight to Canada, came up with a deck list overnight, bought the cards the day before the event, and I think just to speak again to like the preparation, it's overnight I was able to make a deck list, make seventh in the Canada regionals, and get my invites and that's. So I think it kind of speaks to if you're putting in the hours, you're putting in the time, you're putting in the effort to kind of like exceed and get to that point where you want to, and bring your hobby to the next level. It's what you have to put in. It's kind of like you know performing with Red Ray and expecting to either win with it because someone else has, or you put in the hours and you got to the point where you can actually pilot the deck. So um, after Canada, we got our invite. We went to Nats, and I waited on a line for 8 hours to get a solo leveling match. Shout out to everyone that was on that line with me in the blazing heat. And then the next day in Nats, ended up going 22nd. So I think I bricked in the eighth, which kind of sucked. I played all of two cards the entire game. Sat in the top tables to look at my hand the entire time, and my life go wee straight
I
to the
remember
graveyard.
the end of that game. I remember afterwards having to talk you off the ledge.
It was, I mean, it's you win that game and I'm in top 15, right? So I mean, like it's kind of like what you said, like having the preparation and the proper moment meet each other wasn't the moment. So I mean, here we are, I guess you want to call it season two or wave one. I'm just super excited. I think Tokyo Ghoul's really fun. I've been testing a bunch of that. Sakamoto Days, I'm extremely excited for, and just looking to have fun. How
Chris,
about you,
you?
Chris?
So yeah, I was getting ready for it. so,
He's like,
like,
man, I don't want to talk about
so
it.
like,
Anyway, I don't wanna.
so like I said, my experience kind of stems out from like, we were in Yugi, and then like we kind of left Yugi, and we didn't touch card games for years. And me and one of my other friends, he was like, "Look at this game that's coming out. It's based off of anime." And I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be so cool." And I told Nora about it, and Nora was like, "No, I'm not playing another card game. I'm not doing that." And like I tried to talk him into, I'm like, trust me, it's gonna be good. So I went and I played the very first tournament. Like I mean, like the day of drop. Like we were in the tournament and we were trying to figure out like how do we attack life? Can we attack other, characters? All sorts of things on day one. And like after we all like figured out all the rules and everything, I was like, this is freaking cool. I was like, I missed this. And so I told Nora, I went to his house, I was like, hey, look at this. I was like, this is cool. And he's like, no, you're not getting me into another card game. And I told him, it has all this and all these different IPs. And like, he was like, all right, let me take a look into this. And so that's kind of where that went. And from there, uh, everything I do or every game I play, I'm always competitive. I've always said like I'm not gonna put my time and effort into something I'm not gonna be serious into, and that goes for like anything, not just Union Arena. That's I used to play Call of Duty competitively and tournament wise, Apex as well, a bunch of things. But yeah, so I put the time and effort in. I would say I'm a decent player. My goal for season 2 of this year is to win the 2 regionals I'm going to, which is VA and Florida. I will be attending others after, but I'm not attending anything in between those two. Just because life is lifing and work is working, and so I have
You
to
gotta
do
go.
it.
You gotta go big or go home. Go for the win.
So I'm definitely going to win those. LCQs was unfortunate. I ended up being the guy that everybody came up to. You heard about somebody getting double finaled? I was like, yeah, that's me. You know, like I was upset.
And that was one of the saddest moments. I finished my game. I look over, see him at table 1. I'm like, oh, he has to be cooking. He looks at me all angry. I'm like, he's not cooking. He's not cooking. It's not happening.
But I think that overall, like, I'm just gonna keep improving as a player. I'm gonna keep getting better. Every loss, I take it as like there's something to learn from it and something to grow from it. Like today, I lost a lot in the case tournament, and I reviewed everything. I'm still reviewing the footage and looking over it, and I think as a player, that's what helps you grow. You look back at your experiences and you go, could I have done something different?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I ran into double special in life. Could I have, worked my way around it to where I don't get double specialed or I make him special something else? And so that's kind of where I'm at. But for season 2, I'm gonna go even harder. I know I've been told this by Vocal and I've been told this by Noir that I play too fast, and so that's another one of my goals to just kind of slow down and really take my time to look at things. But yeah,
Okay, I hope to see you at the final table in VA. I'll see you there.
I will be there. I will
But,
be there.
but, but the
If
one
you ever need
request, you got to
coaching,
be
just
the
hit
one to
me up.
beat Noir, not me.
I will be there. I will be there for sure. And so yeah, uh, if we're talking a set that I'm excited for, I'm excited for Inuyasha. I know we got no information on it. We got barely any. Basically, what we've seen in JP and like me and Nor
We've
that they
seen a good chunk of the SRs, is what we've seen.
you've seen. Me and Nor were screenshotting things off the JP and trying to translate it through Chat
Oh,
GPT.
well, if you guys are in the Union Arena community, like they translate them for us and send it all to us.
I like that. I like that. I guess I gotta go look.
It's like,
But I'm very excited for
it's been a decent
Inuyasha.
try.
I'm excited for Sakamoto as well. I think Sakamoto is going to be the next game changing set. Just being able to see the special that you don't want to hit in life is
Oh
very,
yeah. Yep.
very, very good.
Oh yeah, then you guys can test the HQ method even more. You can be like, hey, show me that life.
Third life.
Show me third
Third
life. Oh, that's a special note. I'm gonna hit fourth. So yeah, that's where I'm at. What about you guys? What's a set that you are excited for?
I'll let Tanner go first because I know there's
Yeah,
one he's
you
really
know the set
excited
that I'm
for.
excited about. Well, if you know anything about me, if you know anything about my history, obviously I've kind of mentioned it. I started the game playing Kurapika. So I like really big 5k body green decks that snipe and have extra removal because I played a lot of Kurapika and Lancelot at the start there. So if you haven't figured out what I'm excited for yet, I'll tell you. I proxied out this deck. I think Tyler can tell you. I think I proxied this deck over a year ago to date. Just because I used to watch a lot of Japanese Union Arena content creators where they would just upload gameplay footage of them playing at locals or at someone's house fully in Japanese. I just watched without any context. I would have to look up what cards did, sets we don't even have yet. But one of the decks that really stuck with me so much that I proxied it out without having any promise of the set ever coming to English was Malim from Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. So that is another big high energy green deck with a lot of removal, snipe impacts that I've been looking forward to for 14 months at this point.
Nice.
So I've been talking about it ever since it got released, and they said that we're getting Volume 2 with it as well. The last like few months, I've been saying that I really hope I get my Nats invite early in the season, because then as soon as the slime comes out, I'm just going to play those decks to every regional. I don't care if it's bad, I'm just gonna do it. But that's the set that I'm most looking forward to. Even if it's not going to be that good, I think the decks are really fun to play. Specifically, I really like the purple one and then Malim. So that's what you can look forward to finding me on at any regional that you sit across from me at after Slime comes out. Even if I don't have my Nats invite, you can probably expect me to be playing a Slime deck at least for this season.
That's fair.
Amazing. Yeah, for me, it's Sakamoto for now. I just think being able to look at your hand and stack the top of your deck is just going to be very, very fun for me to do. In testing already, we've noticed that it does play strong into Kenshin, which is nice, and maybe that's why they didn't hit it. I don't know, but I just think I'm gonna have fun with that. Looking at your hand and just being able to put cards on top of your deck, looking at your life and being able to say, "Oh, that's Impact Engine. Yeah, no, let's skip that," and then pick it when the time comes, or be able to flip your color trigger, your red color trigger, and say, "Okay, cool. I'm gonna swing 2K with this, hit another card, and then swing 4K and let you kill it if you need to." Like it's just so many different plays that come up now, just because you're able to have so much knowledge. Like a lot of the RNG that's in the game, it kind of like mitigates. And then in other instances, the 5-drop, the snipe in yellow, he flips my life. And when you see me flip the life and it's a special, and then you say, "Okay, cool, I'm not going to hit a special, I'm going to choose this one instead," and then you choose yellow color trigger, and I'm like, "Cool, rest that." So it's a mind game in itself, and it's pretty interesting. So I like anything that's like combo slash control to a degree with some aggro in it. So I think I'm going to be pretty excited for Sakamoto.
For me, it would have to like the set I was already excited for is here, and that'd be solo leveling. As like a guy who's followed the series back when the creator was still alive and releasing manga chapters every so often, and I was so excited for when I heard it was coming here, and knowing that in my eyes at least, there's multiple competitive viable decks that I get to play from this deck from this game, or well anime. I for this game. I'm really excited for it. But if I had to pick a set that's about to come out and I'm totally excited to all in on it, it's probably going to be Nikkei Volume 2, only because they bought characters that I actually cared about. Old Tales being Graves, Cinderella, and Little Mermaid. That deck arguably is probably one of the oppressive, strong decks that the way it works is not a way that we've really like seen in UA, because we don't have all the sets JP has, which JP has they like Madoka, which cares about the removal area, where this deck actually caring about the removal area and having like double block bodies, a raid that gets to copy other raid abilities. You have a special that's on a body that also protects the rest of your board that you play for free. So it's a deck that's going to be insanely strong when I think it comes here to America, because in JP, my friends that I test with there and the players that I play test with there, it's already a very strong in JP meta. And if it's strong in JP meta, then I know it's going to be strong here in American meta.
Nice, that's exciting.
And so, besides VA, where can we expect to see you guys? What other events are you guys going to?
I will be at every event Xing Canada. So I already have VA booked, I already have Peoria booked, and I already have Florida booked, which is the other three that we already have known. I plan to be there. If I had to give you a tease for like the events, as VA, I don't really know. It's too close, but I'll tell you probably Peoria. I'm on a Tokyo Ghoul deck. Florida, I'm on a Sakamoto deck, even though Sakamoto came out a week before. Like, I think it's just. I think we're gonna have the Roy Mustang effect, and this is just to spoil it to all of you out there if you're not already thinking of this. The reason why I think Roy Mustang did so well at Gen Con, it came out the week before. People didn't have time to play test it. So if you have teams, you need to start playtesting into Sakamoto, all of Sakamoto, because if you only playtest into what you think is good, the yellow one, then you're gonna get caught off by purple because you're not gonna know what the deck's doing. And when you don't know what your opponent's doing, you don't know what you need to prepare for or what you need to hold removal for. And so that's why yes, I'm most likely going to be on a Sakamoto deck come Florida because I don't think the average player is going to play test or know the information of what these cards do, or they'll play test it against enough in the, I'm going to say, 2 weeks, because if you do release events a week before the actual release and then the release, if you don't do enough testing in those 14 days, especially since some of the more competitive players are going to be traveling to Peoria the week before, so I'm going to say even less than 14 days before
Mhm.
you have to actually put your brain against that deck for multiple rounds, it's just a
Mhm.
deck to be definitely looking at.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
100%. And a big thing about what you said about the color. I'm not going to speak too much on the color. I think everyone should look only at yellow. Don't look at purple. I promise you there's nothing there in purple. Don't read those cards.
No,
They
don't
don't
listen
exist.
to
I'm joking.
them.
Yes, please go read everything in Sakamoto. I think you're gonna have a fun time. When things come closer to the dates, we'll be putting out videos and stuff like that. Going over the sets and stuff like that when it comes to Sakamoto days. Even for Tokyo, you could stay tuned. We have a video coming out soon for Tokyo. I just think overall the biggest thing to release to everybody as a whole, especially when it comes to looking at these lists, when it comes to top 32, top 60, 64 pilots, anyone that wants to play those decks, perfect it, perfect your craft, play against the top meta, see if you can compete realistically, and I think ultimately have fun. If you are looking to enjoy any of these events, feel free to come say hi to any of the guys at D3, all the team at HQ. You could find us at VA. Some of us will be at Montreal, and then majority of the team will be at Florida. So looking forward to seeing everyone there. Have fun. Like I said, enjoy the game, but do practice. Take your time, do your due diligence. You could join D3 server. We'll leave that in the little text box there. To join their server, they run tournaments in there as well. You guys have plenty of people to practice against. You guys are more than free to join our server. It's a little bit more homey in here, so we don't have as many people as D3, but there's a lot of competitive players in our Discord as well. You guys could feel free to, practice from your home. But if you do have friends, try to meet up, have, a good time practicing before any of these large events. And take your time. Take your time. Don't play past 35 minutes, but take your time and think out your plays. I think one of the biggest things to any new player that's going out to a large event is it is a lot of pressure. This is not locals. This is not 3 rounds or 4 rounds with familiar faces that you know. These are people that are going to tell you there's no takebacks. There's a lot of like judge calls. There's just, play your best game, and your best game is going to come from practice. So just good luck to everybody. Good luck to everyone playing Kenshin and trying to be the biggest deviant you can. And good luck to everyone playing Toto down in top 64 or any of the pilots, and you want to prove that it could do something. So good luck to everybody, and hope to see you guys soon.
If you want to see me at events, uh, you can expect to see me at. I'll be at Peoria and Virginia. I want to go to Florida, Montreal, but I'll probably end up going to every other event this
Yeah.
season. Just with it's a lot of traveling, it's a lot of time. Still playing other card games as well, pretty actively. But yes, echo everything that Noir just said. Have fun at any events, but understand that it's going to be a bigger event, so expect it. But don't forget to have fun. Don't forget to enjoy it, meet people, talk, everything. Please, I love meeting people. If you ever see me at an event or anything, please, I would love to talk about the game, anything, what you're playing, what you're trying, and stuff like that. So, yeah.
And you can expect to see me at VA or at Florida. Those are the two I'm going to right now. That's known. Anything after that, we'll see. I will be going to more events, but I am also taking time in between because life is lifing and work is working. Too hard, too hard. But yeah. And
It's all good. Piggyback kind of what they said. Yeah, enjoy you playing, and if your list is not on the either one of our list, keep in mind that you are probably somebody who's played your deck a lot and you have a lot of experience with it. These are decks that we've seen at events or decks that we know people are playtesting. So don't be discouraged. Just like Noir said, if your deck can compete against the decks, at least the decks you see in top 16, top 8, that's what we assume is going to be the majority of the field, then bring your deck. Prove us it's another deck we need to start putting on our list. Prove us you're one of those people that we may have not seen you last year because you were doing stuff, or maybe you just learned UA and you've been playing other card games. Like, definitely come show that, like, hey, maybe there's something we didn't see because we're not always the smartest in the room. Some days we're just the luckiest in the room, and that's all we can ask.
Love that.
and with that, I want to thank both Tanner and Vocal for being here. And yeah, let us know down below your thoughts, your comments. Uh, if you guys agree with our lists, disagree with our lists, we want to hear from you guys. So feel free to, at any point in time, comment down below, like, share the video, and again, thank you for all the love and support. And remember, nobody's saying you can't play your favorite deck. You just got to be the best at it. So practice, practice, practice. And with that, take care, guys.